Hello and welcome back to another popcorn chat. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a long time. I've been on holiday and just doing very busy at the moment, so there's not been too many main videos on this channel, but thank you very much for bearing with me, and I hope you guys will be excited to see a lot more content coming out on this channel. As you could probably guess, I love going to the cinema and the whole experience of it, seeing a film on the big screen, having that surround sound system. It's always going to be a great time. However, there are many things that can happen that can ruin my experience of going to the cinema, and it's mainly down to other people. So in this video, I'm going to be running through some of my pet peeves when I'm going to the cinema. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with further content on the channel. So first up, it's very much a generic pet peeve that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, and that is loud eaters. So for some reason, cinemas have decided to put the most crunchy foods possible in their food vendors. We have popcorn, crisps, we have drinks that people slurp, we have ice blasts, we have milkshakes, and people just are obnoxiously crunching and slurping their drinks throughout the films. I understand if you want to do it in the first 20 minutes when we had the adverts and then the cinematic trailers, do it then. Eat all your food and drink all your drinks beforehand. But when the film's on and there's a very intense moment, read the room, guys. Like when it's really quiet, don't slurp your drink, don't crunch on that Dorito so slowly. Just hold out. Wait for a loud moment at least if you are going to eat, some really crunchy food. Wait for those moments. That's what I do personally. I would wait for, there's music on a scene or it's an action-packed moment. You eat then, if you do want to eat in the film. So for me, loud eating is a massive thing. I mean, first off, I don't think really people should be eating in the screens. Like, I wish they did screenings where people weren't eating and drinking. That would be a massive improvement for my personal cinema experience, and I know a lot of people are the same. So for me, a massive one is loud eaters. In a lot of mainstream screenings that I've been to, you do get people talking, and like with food, I think it's perfectly fine you're doing it in the first 20 minutes of the trailers. That's cool with me. However, when that film comes on, no talking. You might want to whisper into the person's ear that you're next to, like, oh, maybe I don't know what it's doing, or they could be actually with a spy of that, they're backstabbing that person. Whisper that, that's fine. But some people just want to talk at regular volume. And that really does sort of grind my gears when people do that. So people talking is a massive element for me. With everyone having smartphones in their pockets nowadays, the tendency to look at it as the cinema's going on or take a picture of the Evil Dead Rises intro card, don't do that. Come on, you're there literally for the cinematic experience. And I've noticed it definitely in the last few months where people have decided just to be texting or taking pictures or Snapchats, whatever they're doing. And it's illegal. You shouldn't be doing it anyway. And it's just really disruptive for everyone, especially if you're sitting behind the people that have the phones. And I can see it in the corner of my eye because it lights up your face. It lights up that section of the screening. And it just ruins it for a lot of people, for myself and others, I'm sure. And it's just really annoying. I mean, I had an experience as well. My light decided to break on that one, guys, so sorry, I had to reset everything. As I was saying recently, I had an experience when I was watching Evil Dead Rise, and someone literally answered a phone call in the middle of the screening, and I was like, what are you doing? Decided not to have any confrontation. I just moved, I didn't want to sort of kick off something because it was such a busy screening for that film, but don't use your phones in the screens, please. Texting, taking pictures, answering phone calls. It can wait an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. You've paid for that ticket, so why are you ruining your own experience and others? So the next two things for me are involving the chairs. So when people decide to put their feet on the back of the chairs, I think it's really rude. I don't like when people do it in buses or other public places, because your shoes could have, crap on them. So I think it's just being respectful by not doing that. I've had people where they've been sat 2 seats to the left and one behind, and they've decided to just swing their legs over. I've had people just put their feet over. I've been put over from their knees and chucking it over. I'm like, why? I don't want your feet near my face. It's just so rude. And the other day when I went to see Elemental at the screening, this guy put his bare feet on the chair. And I was like, that is it. I've seen everything now. Shoes are pretty bad. Socks are pretty bad, but bare feet, come on, please stop doing this in the public cinema. This is a space for everyone. We don't want to see your feet. I don't want to smell your feet, so stop. The other point that I had was regarding people putting their jackets over chairs. I see this a lot with sort of older people. They decide to sort of throw over their coats or their lighter jackets and put it on the chair in front of them, which, you know, might be on the row I'm sitting on, other people are sitting on. Again, I just think that's a bit rude. Like maybe making themselves a little bit too cozy as they're at home. Maybe the seat next to you if there's no one around, but I think like putting them over the front, it's just, again, you're taking up a lot of space. And I think it's just a little bit rude. It's not as bad as some of the others, of course. You know, it's not really interrupting the film. But for me, I just personally think, you know, just put it across your lap, or maybe on the chair next to you if you've got space. So when I was thinking of this video, I decided to ask the people of Instagram for their thoughts. So let's run through some of other people's pet peeves. So a lot of these people were saying similar things, but we do have some different ones as well. So Beck said people eating loudly and rustling packets, which I completely agree. We've covered that. RT Review says standard seats having no legroom. I can understand that. You know, even myself, who's 5'7.5", like there's not massive amounts of legroom. So for anyone taller than that, I can imagine it can be a little bit of a squeeze. Molly Knapp says people chatting and arriving late. Arriving late is another thing. I didn't mention that, but that can be quite distracting when you're in the first 10 minutes of a really intense opener, maybe. Did you see that? Says people who check their phones during the movie. Yep, that seems to be a common theme with a lot of people. You know, with modern technology, it's a massive thing that annoys a lot of other fans of cinema, really. Popcorn and pauses says loud talking of others. Exactly, we've mentioned that already. Nordic Watchlist says it has to be people chatting throughout a film. There's a special place in hell for them. That's very much true. I think, you know, it should be standard, but if not, we should start doing special screenings that maybe should be for literally no eating and no chatting at all. That would be ideal for me. Biscuit and Blu-rays says smartwatches are just as bad as phones. Turn them off. Yes, I always put mine on, turn the vibration off so it doesn't go off if I do get a message. Because sometimes my messages still come through on Do Not Disturb, which is weird. But yeah, so I turn that off because I know that Biscuit and Blu-rays hates that, so I've become aware of that for myself as well. Calls and Typewriters says people rustling their snack bags just as the dialogue goes really quiet. Yep, that's exactly what I mentioned earlier. Reading the room. If you're going to eat, read the room. Zubair says, besides the obvious talking, but when people arrive late into the film, like why? Exactly, yeah, I think people arriving late does ruin the flow of a lot of films, especially those sort of more independent films, definitely. Tessa says people chewing gum, people talking, people rustling, other people. I think it's just people in general for Tessa, and I agree on that one. Film Forager says cameras on the person being talked to, and the person talking isn't synced with audio. Ooh, I've not noticed that. Unless it's a deliberate choice. I'd like to know more about that, Film Forager, if you have any more of a deep dive into that one. So there you have it. Those are other people's pet peeves from Instagram. So hopefully we've covered a lot of bases there. You know, there's a lot of crossover on some of the ones that I've mentioned and some newer ones. If we've not touched upon any that you have personally, do write them down in the comments. I'd love to read those, and maybe I'll mention them in the next video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this type of video, talking about some of the more negative sides of those cinema experiences. You know, I'm trying to be positive on this channel, but you know, sometimes some things do rustle a lot of cinema goers, and not just myself. I think it's a general thing between people who love cinema and maybe those regular cinema goers. So let me know if I'm not alone in this down below, and I'd love to check those out. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't subscribed already, what are you playing at? Make sure you hit that button to keep up to date with any latest reviews here on the channel, and I'll see you very soon for another popcorn chat.